Lyle and Chris Solly, they're both the same. They're worried about getting injured. And Lyle's in a different situation regarding financial. He's going to earn money that he's never earned before. He's got a lot of clubs, from what I understand, that are queuing up, waiting to take him. And he's earned that. Like you said, he's been great for me. In the 2 years that he's been here, he's helped us get into the Championship. And his goals this season, when he was fit, has helped us still have a shout within staying in the league. So I half get it, why he's deciding to do this. But on the other hand, I find it difficult because I think I would play, and it's making my job a hell of a lot harder to stay in the division, because with Lyle Taylor in our side, we are a different side. There's no getting away from that. His goals has helped us. The first 6 games of the season before he went away on international duty and got injured, we didn't lose a game. And he scored in 5 of them. So he scored 5 goals in the first 6 games. So he is massive to us, and he knows it. Everybody knows it. But he has his own reasons, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can only ask to play. I can't force him to play. And that's what hurts me. Like, I just can't control that situation, you know.
Lee, are Charlton paying their players at this moment in time?
Yeah. Everyone's been paid last month and the month before, and so on. So everyone's getting paid. But he's worried, Gary, in case he gets injured, because if he gets injured, he ain't going to get this move that's going to secure him and his family for the rest of his life, I guess.
Look, Lee, I'm tolerant of players' situations and understand, was part of the PFA for many, many years. And I think that, to be fair, if Lyle was a player that the club didn't want, they wouldn't pay him beyond June 30th. They'd say, no, you're out on your ear and go away and get your contract. So I get the fact that players could think in different ways. What I would say is that the Championship's about to resume on June the 20th, we were told in the last week or so. He actually has to play football till June 30th. He's contracted to play football till June 30th. My problem with Lyle's position is not beyond June 30th. My problem with him is that he's contracted to play for your football club today and tomorrow and every day in this month up to June 30th. Why wouldn't he fulfil his contract? I understand the bit about beyond June 30th, because at that point he can do what he likes, but I'm struggling with the next 28 days, why he's not fulfilling that.
Yeah, again, Gary, I would say go beyond that. Like, you've started this journey, if you like, from day one when I come in. Finish the journey, but them 3 games, Gary, if he was to play in them 3 games, there's 3 games left in June if we start. Left on the 20th. If we start on the 20th, then them 3 games, if we won them 3 games, which is a possibility, then that could keep us in the division. But if you've got someone that their head ain't going to be in the right place, and they're not going to be the same player and not try as hard because of worried of getting injured, then there's no point. Like, for me, there's no point him being there. If his heart isn't going to be there and he isn't going to be the same player, then there's no point. But if he was to play for them 3 games, it could be a massive difference to us. Massive difference.
Yeah. So I mean, look, not to step into what areas of confidentiality, but I take it that the club has stopped paying him for this month and that he's in breach of contract. So obviously you're fining him for his wages.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know. That's not to do with me. That's behind the scenes. I know that someone went to the PFA yesterday and asked a question. But I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, I'm guessing something will happen along the line somewhere. But he could easily get around that, Gary. He could come in and say, okay, I'm going to train and I'm going to play for the remainder of the games, the 9 games. And then when you get 2 days before Hull away on our first fixture, then could say, no, I'm not going to play. I'm injured. or I've got a backache, or I've got this, I've got that, and then can get around it. That there's obviously ways that you can get around it. I've played with players that have had one injury and then was meant to come back to training, and then he said, "Oh, I've got a different injury now." And you're like, "Hold on, you ain't even trained. How can you pick up a different injury when you haven't even trained?" So that's what could happen, but would it be wrong? Yeah, of course it would. But again, these are things that I can't control.
Lee, I think it's been well documented that it's only in the last, or certainly the last game, that you went into the bottom three, but you weren't in great form. Another club who have been in the bottom three for a lot of the season is Wigan, who are on great form. Do you actually see the situation now? You've actually come out of that. It almost feels like a new season, that it may be different now for teams. It won't be, obviously, I don't think it's a case of who's in form. Do you think it actually plays to your advantage, really, in some ways, that you've almost had that break and you're not coming in on these last sort of 9 or 10 games on the back of that poor run that you were on?
Yeah, we was on a poor run, Cara, but the reason why we was on that poor run is because we had double
none of your players wanted to play
months. Yeah, we had double figure injuries for months. Like Scotty used to come to our games, and we was playing like 16-year-old kids. We had a 16-year-old kid play against West Brom. So we was playing on. We had to bring back 23s, like the under 23s that was on loan at non-league clubs. We had to bring them back from loan and to go and play in the Championship, and they tried, but they was at their depth, and it wasn't really fair on them. But we had no other option. That's why we was on that bad run, and we just started to get everybody fit. And I think when we played Middlesbrough, everybody was back fit then. And but when everyone comes back, they all seem to come back roughly around the same time. They was all out for like 10, 12, 14 weeks. So they all started to come back at the same time, which was great. So our starting 11 was good, but then the players, we had to bed them in, so they could only play 20 minutes, then 45 minutes, then 60 minutes. So by the time we played Middlesbrough, we was just getting them all back up to speed. So we would have been fine. I think if we'd have carried on, we would have started to pick up more points. We went to Forest and beat them there. So we started to pick up more results. But yeah, now I think other teams who had a lot of injuries, Hull comes to mind because that was our next game. They had the whole of their back four out. So that's why I think they was on a bad run at the time as well. So, is this break come at a good time for us? Maybe you could look at it like that, so we can get them all back up to speed. But yeah, I think it might have benefited other clubs more so than us.
Lee, you've gone public, I think, a couple of times in the situation in the last couple of months about, I think, points per game, about whether the league should continue at different times. I mean, is that still a big worry for teams in the Championship or any league, that if there is a second wave of COVID-19, that the league would be decided on points per game? And is that something that you're dead set against?
Yeah, the reason why I done that, Caro, to go public, because for me that wasn't the right way to decide. And I wasn't just saying it because we was in the bottom three. I'd have said it the week before. Like the week before, Middlesbrough was in there, and if we'd have won our next game against Hull the next day, then we would have been out in the bottom three again. It wasn't because we was in the bottom three. I just thought that that's the wrong way to decide whether you go up or down. If you signed up to play a 46-game season, then you should finish that. And if you don't, then you start again. But we ain't there now. I do honestly believe that we're finished the season now. I think we're all doing testing now. Clubs are paying a lot of money to do this testing. So I do believe that we're get up and playing again, and we're finished the season, which is the right thing to do. Listen, if we're in the bottom three after the 46 games, then we deserve to go down. There's no getting away from that. I will never say, oh yeah, because of this, because of that. Even that Lyle's not going to play, I won't use that as an excuse. I've got 23 good players that want to fight and want to play. So now it's down to me to work with them, make sure they're ready for the first game, and then if we don't succeed in what we want to do in the standing division, then I'll take full responsibility for that.
Lee, just going back to those lads that don't want to play, I think, we've never been in the situation that those lads have been in before, so I think we have to accept their personal decisions. My disappointment actually is the fact that they're not fulfilling the contracts. That to me is a disappointment as a football player. I think beyond the contract, absolutely make any decision you want. But coming on to the games that you've got left, do you think it actually could galvanise you from a point of view of a squad and bringing you together and closer, the fact that you this siege mentality where it looks like you us against the world type thing. We've lost our best players. 3 don't want to play. We're in the bottom 3. Are you using that as a potential advantage?
Yeah, I've always done that though, Gary. I've always said that, I'll bring us together as a group. I think that was a big part of the reason why we got promotion last year. No one expected us to be in the top 6, and we managed to get promotion. So I'm very big on that, bringing the group together, and you're one big family. I'm guessing you guys, Man U, you would have been the same, and you, Carroll, at Liverpool. You don't become successful from having a group of people that ain't together. So yeah, I would say that's a big part of us, and not even just that, lads. I think what's going on off the field, I think that's something that I use as well, because that's something that's going on behind the scenes, and we're not in control of that. And I'll make the players I'll make them aware of what's going on, and not to let it affect us. And we have to stick together and do what we do best, and that's fight for every point.
I was going to ask you, Lee, about that as well. What is happening with the never-ending saga of the ownership? Because the players can shield themselves away from that, get information from you, but you have to deal up as well as down at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, Scotty, well, you know the club. It's a great club. The fans are unreal. When they want to play their part, they play their part, and I feel for them more than anybody, because they obviously wanted to run out for whatever reason. And when that was the case, I said publicly a few times, like, you have to be careful what you wish for. And as it stands, and it's disappointing because it's a good club. I won't go into details, but the club is not in a good position at the moment, Scott, behind the scenes. I think that everybody can see that from the outside, that there's been things that have been said in the public eye on social media, back and forth, and it's not good. And then the players can feed off that, and going back to what Gary was saying, like, that the players see that, and then it's an excuse. The last thing I want is for people to make excuses. There is no excuses. When you're on the football pitch, you try your hardest and you give everything you got for the shirt you're wearing. And so that's what I try to do, just to try and keep them away from what's going on off the field. So, but it's disappointing, Scotty, because it's a good club, and it's not in a good place. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.